He was crowned before he ever understood what power truly meant. The crown was heavy, invisible, yet crushing. At just 12 years old, he sat upon the golden throne, surrounded by noise, yet his heart was silent. That heart still longed for childhood, but childhood was gone. The kingdom had been shattered by war, his father was dead, fallen in battle, and his mother lived in fear, trapped within the council's cold protection. Now everything rested on the fragile shoulders of a boy. The throne, the bloodline, and the shadows that came with it. His uncle, a seasoned general, sharp and calculating, stepped forward as regent. To the people, he was a protector. But behind his kind words lay a hunger that had no end. In the council chambers, loyalty was just another coin to be traded. Every letter that mentioned the boy's father was burned. Every name that stood between the uncle and the crown was erased. The child king was not a ruler. He was a puppet, wrapped in silk, bound by fear. At night, the boy would stare at the portraits of his ancestors, men who conquered continents and bent empires to their will. Yet he, the heir of all their glory, could not command even his own guards. His food was tasted before he ate. His words were written before he spoke. The golden hall became his prison, and the weight of silence was his chain. The queen mother, once proud and radiant, now trembled in the shadows. Her son saw something in her eyes, not love, not sadness, but terror. She touched his face each night and whispered, "Trust no one, not even me." Rumors began to spread through the marble corridors. "The regent will marry the queen," they said. "The boy will disappear. The throne will change its blood." When the boy heard those words, it was like lightning struck through his chest. He realized his uncle's plan, to erase his father's name, to erase him. That night he did not sleep. He wandered through the silent halls, the torches flickering on the walls where portraits of his ancestors hung like ghosts. Their painted eyes seemed to follow him, whispering, "It's your turn." Weeks passed. The uncle's power grew stronger, his hand heavier. The boy was no longer allowed to appear in public except during ceremonies. His days were written by others, his life belonged to another man. He had become the shadow of his own crown. Then one evening, through a frightened servant, he learned the truth. The regent planned to marry the queen, then announce the boy's mysterious illness, the illness of silence, the death without witness. The boy said nothing, but inside him something snapped. That night, for the first time, he held a sword. His hands trembled, but his eyes did not. He summoned the guards, bribed some, threatened others. The palace air changed, the kind of stillness that comes before a storm. At midnight, the boy entered his uncle's chamber. The torches flickered like frightened hearts. The regent, half asleep, looked up and saw the boy standing there, pale, silent, burning. The boy's voice was steady. "You will never take this crown from me." The uncle tried to smile, but the sound of steel cut through his breath. History remembers that night, not for the sword, but for the scream that followed. When dawn came, the boy stood covered in blood, not of his enemies, but of his kin. His mother came running, her eyes hollow, her hands shaking. "What have you done, my son?" she cried. He said nothing. He sat again upon the throne, alone, and whispered, "Now I am truly king." Years passed.
The boy grew older, but the child inside him never healed. He ruled with silence. He signed laws no one understood. He sat alone in the great hall speaking to the portraits of the dead. "Father," he would whisper, "am I doing the right thing?" The walls gave no answer, but sometimes at night he could hear echoes, faint cries that would not fade. His dynasty did not last. The boy king had killed the only blood that tied him to the past. Chroniclers wrote that he went mad in his final years, wandering the empty corridors, calling for people long gone. "I'm still alive," he would shout into the darkness, but the world had already forgotten him. When he finally died, the kingdom did not mourn. It rained that day. The people said it was just weather, but an old woman near the palace whispered, "No, the blood is being washed away." At his burial, no one wept, only the candles trembled, and the shadows on the walls seemed to return once more. Historians called it a curse, the curse of the boy who killed his own bloodline. He never truly became a man, yet his fury destroyed an empire. He gained the throne but lost his soul. He kept his crown but erased his name. And they say that even today, if a candle is lit in the ruins of his castle, you can hear something faint beyond the silence, a scream, distant but real, the cry of a boy who wanted to be a king, and a king who could never be a boy again.